17 past the hour here in the United States. Synagogues and mosques from New York to Los Angeles are on high security alert, and airlines such as Delta and American have canceled flights to Israel as attacks continue to escalate in Israel and the Gaza Strip. Joining us now is Anti-Defamation League President Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, I can't thank you enough for being with us at this hour. I just want to start our conversation by hearing your reaction to what you've watched these last 24 hours.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'll just say my reaction is just shock and revulsion. I mean, ADL is the oldest anti-hate group in America, and this unprovoked and brutal massacre exposes Hamas for what it is, one of the most vicious and violent hate groups in the world, a client of Iran and the hate mongers in its government. So I think this just lays bare how we should think about this entity. It's not a political, legitimate government. It's part of this evil network that includes Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the Taliban and Hamas. Now, I'll say secondly, again, the brutality. Elderly people shot at point blank range at a bus stop. Kidnapped toddlers who were taken from their parents after they were murdered in front of them. Teenagers seized at a peace concert and kidnapped. Holocaust survivors burned in homes, like the homes were set aflame while these elderly people were still inside. And all the while, we know this because the terrorists gleefully recorded the images on video and shared them widely. So I think we need to learn that as an organization that studies extremism and incitement, that when people, hardened anti-Zionists and violent extremists, when they say relentlessly, they seriously demonize and dehumanize the Jewish Teose, it leads to the dehumanization of people. And violent rhetoric conditions the public for violent acts. We see it in America, and we see it in Israel.
And I'm just wondering, Jonathan, when you have that reality, which I think you described so clearly and so vividly, and I also, Jonathan, was struck by how this terrorist attacks were filmed. Like if it was it seemed as though that they were filmed like for a documentary, and it's just, how do you, Jonathan, how do you fight that?
Let's call this what it is. It's a kind of snuff film. It's a kind of pornography. And I'm glad you made the point here, because the notion of filming this while people chanted God is great, and they brutalized hostages, they raped women, and they dragged corpses behind them in the street. At ADL, we fought for the Hate Crimes Act of 2009, signed by President Obama into law, that was named after Matthew Shepard and James Byrd. James Byrd, a black man who was dragged from the back of a truck by white supremacists in Texas, just like the Hamas terrorists dragged dying Israelis from the backs of their vehicles today in Gaza. And that comparison is apt because at ADL, we've been tracking how white supremacists have been rejoicing, along with Islamist jihadists online today, at the death of Jews. Now, what we need to keep in mind is this is happening against the backdrop of the most anti-Semitic incidents we've ever tracked at ADL, the highest numbers in almost 45 years. And we know that spasms of violence in the Middle East in 2021, in 2014, in 2012, in 2008, they evoke violence, vandalism, and harassment here at home. So the entire American Jewish community is on alert, from synagogues to JCCs to schools to organizations like mine. There are dozens of rallies planned tomorrow. If you can imagine this for a moment, in the wake of this violent, misogynistic, horrible violence, there are actually rallies being planned tomorrow to, quote, stand with Palestine. It's hard for me to imagine anything more revolting. And I'm someone who's pushed for a two-state solution. I'm someone who will continue to argue about the need for dignity and equality for Palestinians, even as we have safety and security for Israelis. But the indignities and the inhumanity that we saw on display today will harden the heart of even the most optimistic and decent among us. How can you make peace with the people who rejoice at the desecration and mutilation of the bodies of civilians? I'm at a loss. It's like nothing I've ever seen before, and I'm disgusted. And I'm particularly disgusted at the lack of outrage among the Arab and Muslim governments in the region, among other kind of groups. It's hard to fathom how the kind of brutality we're seeing is being visited with not more outrage.
But, Jonathan, who else was celebrating? And, I've seen pictures of it. The Iranian government in Palestine Park in Tehran. They had a mandatory, obligatory celebration where they set off fireworks to celebrate what Hamas was doing in Israel. And Hamas has been to Russia. The representatives from Hamas have been to Russia recently. They were just visiting in Cuba just recently. And Jonathan, I'm just wondering, a lot of those groups, and I'm thinking specifically of Cuba, I'm thinking of even Evo Morales in Bolivia, what they're saying, which is the moral equivalency of what they say is the actions of the Jewish state.
I mean, it is so revolting that I may have to reach for a garbage can so I can throw up, because what you're quoting is real, but the equivalence, it is truly horrifying. I mean, those images that you're showing, I'm glad you're showing them. The largest state sponsor of terror in the world, of anti-Semitism in the world, is the government in Tehran. And why did this happen? I believe it happened because of the pending rapprochement between Saudi and Israel, which Tehran and its proxies in Gaza could not stomach, because it would open up a wave of peace in the region that could have brought peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. But those rallies, they're taking place in Iran, in Tabriz, in Isfahan, in Tehran. And it says they were fireworks. They gave out candies. Think about the brutality visited upon children and the elderly, and this evokes a celebration. I mean, look, Tehran and its accomplices and proxies in the West should be called out and unequivocally rejected. What that sign says right there in Farsi is revenge on the Zionist criminals. It is heart-wrenching to me to look at these images and to see the lack of compassion and humanity. Look, history will not judge these people well. Whatever God they pray to won't judge them well. And make no mistake, the state of Israel won't judge them well, nor should it.
Jonathan Greenblatt, I thank you very much for your time. Very much appreciate you being with us tonight.